Welcome to another edition of Chaplain John with Chaplain John Sayers, featuring special reports and interviews with people doing kingdom ministry in Tulare County and beyond. And now, here's Chaplain John.
Hey, I'm back. I tell you what I mean by that and why I'm even wearing a tie right now. But let me first begin this short video thought or whatever by reading 2 Chronicles 7:14. And I know you know it, but let me read it to you. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and forgive their sin and heal their land. Now, I went last night. It was just shown twice in our area, I guess throughout the country. It was on the 12th and last night, I think it was the 19th. This is Friday, so whatever the 19th, I think it was. And there was a special showing called the Harbinger of things to come, of Harbinger and things to come. Now, I had to type in the word Harbinger, and it's Harbinger, and it's a noun, and here's what it means. It's a person or a thing that announces the signal or approach of another. And that's what, and this short, it was a 2-hour movie, and Gail and I went and saw last night, and other people were there too. And Jonathan Cahn, that's C-A-H-N. I encourage you to Google his name, Jonathan Cahn, and you can even Google the Harbinger, Harbingers of things to come, and you'll see the books he's written and what this special showing was all about. And I believe, he was that. He was the person to come to announce the things to come. John the Baptist could have been called a harbinger because he came to announce who's to come, which is Jesus. Well, it's a pretty heavy movie. And I have to tell you, Gail and I went to it, and maybe I was tired because, it was kind of late, 7 o'clock. We got home about 9:30. I was kind of tired. But I came back really kind of bummed out, to be honest about it. I think it's a good movie to see. I don't think you have to see it, but it really, if you can see it when you're not tired, and it's a long movie, you'll be amazed at the things that are going on today that may be announcing the things to come. And I came back really kind of frustrated. God, what a gloomy thing. All right, how can a cheerleader look what's happening. Well, we know what's going around us. You don't need to go to this to see what's going around us. You don't need to see that we're close to being in another World War III. You know that. You don't need to know the drought that we're having in California. We live it. We know it. You don't need to know the unrest of the country over, now it's over the abortion maybe taken out of the Supreme Court. And really all the Supreme Court was saying is it's up to the states whether they want to have abortion or not. But boy, look at the anger of the people. And we are not a United States anymore. You don't need to go to this. You don't need to go to this movie to know what happened on 9/11. It's kind of interesting how everything kind of pinnacles at 9/11. It's a announcement or a signal of something that's coming. And we may be in it. I don't know. Maybe we are in those last days. I don't know. And I came back from this really kind of bummed out last night. And now on Friday morning, I usually have breakfast with my friend Carl. We've been doing this, used to be Carmel, but Carl and I, we've been doing it for some time now. And I was going to text him because he comes and gets me because I can't drive. I'm not driving anymore. He always comes and gets me. He's waiting in my driveway at 5:15. He was there at 5:15 this morning. And we go to Denny's. And I was almost going to say, I'm not up to it. I wasn't sure I was even up to wave walking or wave walking because I've shared in other videos that I think my call is to be a cheerleader. I think being a cheerleader is giving people hope, not necessarily happiness, but hope. being with people when they're in the valley of the shadow of death and knowing that God is with them, you know, to give a peace that passes all understanding. That's what I want to do. But last night I wasn't feeling it. Seeing all the stuff that's happening, and I knew all the stuff wasn't, but I was really in a funk. Well, I started to get out of the funk. Carl picked me up. It's about a 10-minute drive to Denny's where we meet, and I'm sharing a bit of the funk with Carl. He has a great way. My friend Carl does something far better than I do. He listens. And he has a way of discerning things that's going on within me. And he shared a few things that I had to think about. And I was starting to get out of my funk. We got to Denny's, and then we went into Denny's. And Brenda, and if you ever had my book, which you can still get, it's on Amazon.com. The church you go to, there it is. If you're around here, I'll even get you the book. But I have a chapter called The First Church of Danny's. I couldn't say Denny's because we're afraid about trademark name. But in that book, I talk about Pastor Brenda. She's our servant. She's our waitress. And we got there early. And I'm starting to get out of my funk, just being with Carl. And she brought our food to us. And Carl normally prays for the both of us. That's great. But there weren't many people around. And I said, Brenda, would you like to pray for our meal? And she goes, I would be happy. And she sat down. Now, if there were people in there, I wouldn't have asked her, but no one was in there right at that moment. She sat down and she blessed our food. She prayed for us. And in her prayer, she was praying about so many hurting people that need to know you, Jesus. They need to know that your comfort, your joy, your peace is with them. And in this prayer, God was reminding John, that's what you're called to do. You don't need to talk about all the doom and gloom that's going around. People know that. You just need to help them navigate through all of it. That's Psalms 23 is a great Psalms I like to share. Look at it. That's what you're called to be. You're called to wave with people, to engage with them just for a few minutes, because they know the gunk we're in. But for that brief time, put a smile on their face. Maybe there's a seed planted, even something deeper. When I go to the hospital on call as a chaplain, I'm there to bring hope, comfort, joy. One of my Bible studies last week, a guy came in and said he just found out his wife, she had this brain tumor. They've been married for 58 years. And they said she's only going to have 6 months to a year. Oh, man. And I'm around, I'm listening to this. And I think sometimes the best thing we can say when people are going through grief, going through lament, is not to say anything, just to grieve with them. I've said this before and I'll say it again. In the book of Job, Job's friends did a great job until they opened up their mouth. Read about that. For 7 days, they're sitting with him in sackcloth and ashes. They're grieving with him. Then they opened up their mouth to try to explain why this was happening to Job. And sometimes we want to help people out. Well, God, we may not see it, but God's got a bigger plan. Oh, the person's going to be with God and all that stuff. But that's not what people need to hear. Sometimes what people need to hear is just to hear their grief, hear the lament. By the way, I'm wearing a tie because in, about 20 minutes, Carl Cordova and his wife, they're kind of pick me up. And we're going to a funeral today. There's a guy in our church, neat guy named Richard, and his wife, Norma Jean, passed away, and they've been married for 50 some years. And we're going to we can call it a celebration of life, but she did know the Lord. She and Richard, boy, what a great love they have for each other. They still have for each other. But I think we're going to, and I'm wearing a tie because that's a special time for me to go to this service. I'm not going to be speaking, not going to be saying anything at it. But I'll see Richard and I'll hug him. And maybe I'll give him a hug, a wave. But let him know we are lamenting with him. That's what we needed. This world is going through some tough times. You know it. We don't need to tell you about the gas prices. We don't need to tell you about the lack of baby formula. We don't need to tell you what debt we are. We don't need to tell you about so much waste being going on. You know all that. But we need to know is that God is with us. And here's what we need to do. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face, then I will hear from heavens. Oh, and they seek my face, excuse me, and turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heavens and will forgive their sins and heal their lands. We need to be praying that. Lord, please, we're asking you, we're asking repentance, and many Christians today are doing that. Every day we're saying, God, forgive us. And God does. Oh, there's consequences, but he forgives us. And he heals the land within me when I'm a repentant person. But oh, do we need to pray that for our nation? I pray that our people that serve us in all levels of government, from the president all the way down to our mayor and even whatever. I pray that they're going to be getting on their knees. Wouldn't it be great if our Congress joined our president? And today they just did that. They humbled themselves. Yeah. And they realized we're called by you, Jesus. And we prayed to seek your face. And God, help us as a nation turn from our wicked ways. Then God will hear us and forgive us and heal our land. Or not, because God's in control either way. I'm back, and I'm glad I'm back with that message.